Welcome home to Cypress Suites. This suite-style hall offers a balance between independent and convenient living. Units in Cypress Suites consist of 2 double-occupancy rooms which share a bathroom. Rooms in Cypress Suites come furnished with a bed, desk, chair, and a dresser for each resident. Students will also receive built-in closet space and a window. In addition, Cypress Suites residents enjoy extra common space to share with other building residents. If you are looking for a restaurant-style meal, Argos Exchange is just across the street. Here you can use a meal swipe to get various kinds of drinks and meals from different rotating restaurant options. Right next to Argos Exchange is the Bulls Express convenience store if you want to grab something on the go. If you want a more customizable meal, the Hub is right nearby. At this all-you-care-to-eat dining hall, there are a wide variety of options which change daily, from a burger and fries to vegetarian stir-fry. When it's time to do your laundry, visit the laundry room in the Cypress E Community Building. You can use quarters or swipe with your USF ID to pay with Bullbucks. It's up to you. If you want to stay active, you're in luck. Just grab your tennis racket and head out with a friend to the nearby tennis courts. You'll also be a short walk away from the Fit. To learn more about our housing options, visit usf.edu/housing. Get ready to live the Bulls life.
Coming to you from the beautiful University of South Florida campus in Tampa, it's USF Housing Live!
Welcome to USF Housing Live. I'm your host, Julia O'Hara, with Housing and Residential Education at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Thank you for joining us this evening as we talk with the College of Undergraduate Studies and the Office of Multicultural Affairs at USF. First this evening, we'll be speaking with an advisor from the College of Undergraduate Studies, and later on in the show, we'll be joined by the director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs. So be sure to drop your questions in the comments wherever you're watching, and we'll respond to as many as we can throughout the show. And our first guest this evening is Shane Combs, an advisor and adjunct instructor for the College of Undergraduate Studies. Welcome, Shane. Thanks for joining us this evening. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So we have some questions ready to go for you. And like I said earlier, we'll be taking questions from the audience as well. So let's get started. And I'm not sure if you can hear that in the audience or Shane, if you can on the phone call, but we are having a little bit of a thunderstorm outside. So hopefully there's no power connection issues, but I just wanted to put that out there in case you hear some rumbling in the background. That's what's happening. So let's get started with the first question. What's your role at the Office of Undergraduate Studies?
Yes, I'm an academic advisor for the Exploratory Curriculum, also known as ECM. So I serve students coming from high school into college for the first time that are searching for their best fit major, probably what our parents would have called being undeclared. So I help students select appropriate courses to test out different majors and careers, but also help them connect to student clubs, older students and alumni for networking, and guide them to resources they may need for their transition to college, like tutoring or mental health resources.
And you talked a little bit about those resources, but what else does your office offer to residents and students at USF?
Yeah, so my office offers a variety of resources for students searching for their major. We have a different resource depending on your situation. So, for example, while I'll serve students coming from high school, we have another team that will handle transfer students, right? So their entry requirements for different majors will be different. So you have a whole team that help with transfer students. And then we have a third team whose job it is to help upper class students like juniors and seniors who do need a quick major change, but still want to graduate on time.
Great. And what should a student consider when choosing a major? I know that's a big decision. A lot of thought goes into that. Do you have any advice for what to consider in that process?
Yeah, so like you started off with, this is a really difficult answer to give to the masses. That's why we have academic advising services so that you can come in and talk to your advisor, because it really depends on the individual student's situation, their year in school, how many credits they have, and their ultimate goals. But I would start by saying that you want to be, one, academically suited for that major, right? So during your first year or two of college, what courses are you clearly getting A's and B's in? Which courses are you clearly struggling in? And then on the professional side, within that first year or two, we want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of the career outcomes associated with the major of choice. So really the biggest lesson for tonight is that almost every career goal has multiple majors that will get you to that outcome. So we really don't want students picking a major that they know in their heart that they're not suited for just because a neighbor or a parent's hairdresser said, hey, this is the only way you can get to that goal, right? That is our jobs. We're going to be the experts in majors and careers, and we'll make sure to find you one that suits you and meets your career outcome goals.
That's great. And I'm going to jump down to this question since we're on the topic of majors. So let's say that a student does get into the situation that they'd like to change their major. Can you talk about the process of what that looks like?
Yeah, so again, this is a really difficult situation because every major makes their own rules. So the analogy I give students is USF is the federal government. Every major, engineering, business, psychology, they're like state governments, and they can each dictate their own protocols, right? So the entry requirements for engineering are going to be different than those for psychology. The protocols for changing your major to business will be different than those for biology. But there is some good news because I know it's a little overwhelming. One, every major has its own website, just like your favorite brand. And then again, that's where you lean on your advisors, someone like myself. It's my job to memorize all 87 majors protocols.
And so when talking about getting together with an advisor, how often should a student see their academic advisor, and how do they go about setting up that meeting?
Yeah, so the answer to like how often you should see your advisor, I always give the same answer: early and often, right? So for each one of my students, I'll probably see them 3 to 5 times in a semester. But one of the lessons that new students often learn the hard way is we are a large university. We serve over 30,000 undergraduate students. So during peak times like registration, orientation, finals week, it can be 5 to 10 business days before you'll have a chance to have a one-on-one appointment with your advisor, right? So therefore, you want to see them early when there's not a problem. Be prepared for when something pops up. And then again, the other really big piece of advice that comes with this is always email us. Don't make that appointment and wait 2 weeks to talk to us. Email us the issue immediately. Still make the appointment, but email us the issue immediately. And that way, by the time we're meeting, we've solved the problem instead of hearing about it for the first time.
That's great advice. And moving back to the topic of changing a major, can we go back to that and talk about maybe some of the challenges and things to consider that come along with a major change?
Yeah, so you're probably going to see the theme going, right? It depends, right? So it depends on your year in school, what major you're leaving, what major you're trying to get into. And again, that's where it can be overwhelming to hear this, like there's not a singular answer, right? K through 12 through high school, you're used to, you take a test and the answer is A and it's B or it's not, right? But in college, as we're testing the adult world, we're seeing that things are a little more nuanced, a little more complex, but I will give you all some advice. So changing majors between the application through the orientation process, super easy. There's almost no issues there. It's very common for students to apply in November, and by the time they're here for next summer, next fall, change your mind, that's totally cool. And I'll be honest, even changing your majors your first year or two in college, there's almost never a problem with that. The real problem, the thing that we're trying to keep students from doing, is changing that major junior and senior year. Right. So the lesson here for tonight is even if you're going into college and you're feeling great about your choice of major, the first 2 years in college is your time to try new things, try different subjects, maybe something you never took in high school, join new clubs, volunteer for different causes, because really every student has room to explore their first 2 years, but junior and senior year need to be a sprint to the finish line, so that way you can graduate and start getting those big paychecks.
Yeah, absolutely. And, kind of going into setting them up for success for students, can you talk about how students can best position themselves for success, even coming in their first year in college? What are some things to think about for the end finish line, like you talked about?
Yeah, so finally, I do have some universal advice that we know that applies to all students, right? So we know how smart and dedicated you all are. You would not get accepted to USF if you're not. Therefore, when we see students struggle in the first year, it's almost never an issue of dedication or intelligence, right? So it's these other adult things. So one of the biggest paradigm changes between college and high school is time management. And so specifically time in the classroom. So K through 12, you're there from, 7, 8 a.m. to 3 or 4 p.m. In a lot of ways, it's a federal babysitting service. So your parents and other chosen family can go to work. So you're in the classroom for 8 hours. When you come to college, you're going to be in the classroom maybe 2 or 3 hours a day, maybe 8 to 10 hours in a total week. And so it feels like you have a lot of free time. But the truth is you don't have free time. The truth is we're simulating the working world. So for instance, I'll have a morning meeting with my boss at 8 a.m., 8 to 9. We'll talk about what we need to talk about. But then she doesn't sit over me while I work for the next 7 hours, right? So that's the same thing that's going to be in the classroom. You're going to be in the classroom a lot less, like an hour or two per day. But that doesn't mean you're done for the day. It means you need to go home, go to the library, go to the Marshall Center, and put another, 3 or 4 hours of work. At the end of the day, to get A's and B's in college, you need to at least be working about 45 hours of, class stuff in general, whether it's attending, prepping, studying. But again, college is meant to simulate the working world. And so that 15 credit schedule you're taking in fall or spring, that is meant to simulate a 45-hour work week.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone describe it that way before. That's actually really helpful. I like that a lot. Putting that extra time in outside of the classroom is so important. And I think everyone learns that in a different way too, their first year. So going into the contact section of tonight, so how would a student or a family member that may have more questions from your office get a hold of you all or learn more? Where should they go?
Yeah, so like I said, the beginning, good news is it's 2022. Google will tell you anything you need to know, right? So if you just type in the word USF and then the advisor you're looking for, the department you're looking for, financial aid, Google will take you right there, and we'll have a website with an email that you can reach out to me. And I always start with email first, especially for new students, because we do have an advisor appointment system called Archivum. You just go in and book it like you would a restaurant reservation. But if you've not used it before, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So most students are going to be reaching out to me through email.
Great. Well, Shane, that's all the questions I have for you tonight, and I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
My pleasure.
All right, have a great night.
You too. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls. All right, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more USF Housing Live right after this.
Hi, my name's Nur.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Looking Back with USF Housing.
Come join us as we ask students about their first time at USF.
Let's take a look. All right, so we're here with Lily. Lily, could you tell us your major?
My major is health science.
Okay, cool. And why did you choose USF?
I chose USF mostly because they gave out funding for school as compared to the other Florida schools here.
Yeah, true. Same here. And what do you think is some of the benefits of USF?
The benefits, I would say mostly for my major, since I'm a health science major on the pre-med track, there's a lot of opportunities for students like me to go out and volunteer, and there's like research facilities here as well, so there's a lot of opportunities for us to,
Yeah, and I mean, USF is great for everything health related. And so, do you live on campus?
I do live on campus.
Cool. What are some of the best things of living on campus?
I would say that since you live on campus, you can just walk anywhere and you don't really have to drive. Like some places, they're a little bit far, but you can just walk to different areas where you have classes, and then we also have food here as well, so you can just walk and get food without driving out, and
Yeah, everything's within walking distance. And so what would you say to incoming students? Like, what do you advise them?
For incoming students, I would say use your time and make friends and socialize, because college is fast.
Yeah.
It goes by really quickly. So yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, so what is your major and your name?
Hi, my name is Naziza, and my major is cell molecular biology, and I have 2 minors in environmental science and policy and biomedical anthropology.
Well, that's great. And why did you choose USF?
I chose USF because USF gave me a lot of financial aid, and there's a diverse population of international students, and I'm an international student, so that
too.
attracted me. Nice.
Awesome. So now that you're here, Nasisa, what is your favorite thing about USF?
My favorite thing about USF would be the people I met through the Honors College mainly. Yeah.
Awesome. And did you live on campus?
I lived on campus my first year.
Awesome. And what's the benefit that you see to living on campus?
You definitely get to interact with a lot more students than you would versus if you were to live off campus. So as a first year, I'm really glad that I lived on campus, made a lot of friends that way.
True. And what advice would you give to incoming students from your experience?
Don't stay cooped up in your room. Go outside, meet new people, and don't be afraid to just talk.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. Have a good one, Aziza. Bye.
Welcome back. I'm Julia O'Hara, and if you're just now joining us, this is USF Housing Live, and we're here to help prepare you to live the Bulls life at USF. Ask us your questions in the comments, and we'll answer you live on the show. Our second guest this evening is the Assistant Dean of Students and the Director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs, Neldy Nunez. Hi, Neldy. How are you?
Hi, Julia. How are you? Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. It's great to have you here in this new role. We're so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm equally as excited.
So for the audience joining us tonight, can you tell us who you are and what you do at USF?
Of course. Well, welcome everyone. Good evening. My name is Neldy Nunez. As Julia just mentioned, I serve as one of the Assistant Deans of Students for the Division of Student Success in the Department of Community Development and Student Engagement. So our entire unit is focused on ensuring that all of our USF students have a place to call home, both in residential education and on campus, that they feel connected through student orgs and involvement, and that they feel supported in all of the areas that the university offers them to thrive in: their academics, their social spaces, their networking with faculty and staff. And that's the role in the assistant dean role piece that I help support along with my other assistant dean colleagues. I also have the pleasure and privilege of directing the Office of Multicultural Affairs here at USF, and I have been in that role for the last 8 months. It's been a fascinating transition here and an opportunity to represent and support all the cultures and the students that thrive at USF and want to get connected with each other here at the university.
Thank you, Neldy. And we're going to dive into the Office of Multicultural Affairs and what you do. Before we do that, though, I would like to answer a question from Danielle, who's watching in the audience tonight. Danielle, thank you for your question. Danielle asked, will students moving into the residence halls at the Tampa campus in the fall need to select a move-in date and time, same as last year? Neldy, I'll be able to answer that question tonight. So we are looking at doing move-in time slots, a morning and then an afternoon time slot, rather than the couple of hours that we did in the fall last time. And that's just for our staff to best prepare for staffing and make sure that the lines aren't long and make sure that we're all prepared for students coming in. And we will be getting up that information on our website in the next couple of weeks so people can begin planning. So let's jump into the topic tonight of the Office of Multicultural Affairs. Can you tell us a little bit more about what this office does and the resources provided to students?
Yes. So one of the things that we do and will do is get excited about moving. I'm so excited that Danielle asked that question. The Office of Multicultural Affairs will be supporting residential education with ensuring that all of our students at USF feel connected in sharing knowledge of their own cultures, their own cultural values, the things that excite them. And that is one of the reasons why the Office of Multicultural Affairs exists here at the USF Tampa campus. One of our goals is to prepare students to be culturally competent, to work with people that are like them and people that may be different from them, people that may have the same values and opinions, or people that may share other values and opinions. But our priority is to ensure that regardless of your race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, political affiliation, or religious affiliation, that you are connected to other students that think like you, that think different from you, that you're gaining skills that you're going to transfer into the workplace in this diverse work environment that we have in our society, and that you're able to find passions in terms of our student organizations affiliated with the Office of Multicultural Affairs. So we offer services and support around getting involved, advocating if any issues come up with faculty or academics. And also, we also employ students. So if you're coming to campus for the first time and you're looking for a job on campus, we really encourage you to stop by the Office of Multicultural Affairs, get to know a little bit more about our office, get to see the wonderful programs that we offer, and potentially apply for a job. Our office is also the only entity on campus that is completely student focused in celebrating our multiple heritage or history months. So we come together every year to put on amazing celebrations full of opportunities for connection, for celebration, for joy, for happiness, for understanding and learning, for Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs September 15th through October 15th, LGBTQ History Month, which kicks off on October 1st. We also do a Homeless Awareness Week in November, celebrate a bunch of different holidays as we're gearing into the month of December. And then in January, we have a wonderful commemorative MLK Week. We then kick off our Black History Month on February 1st, Women's History Month, March 1st, and then we combine APIDA, which is Asian Pacific Islander, Desi American, and MENA Month, Middle Eastern and North African Student Celebration Months during the month of April. So if you're looking to connect, learn more about those cultures, celebrate your own culture if you identify, connect with student orgs that are doing those celebrations, or you simply want to learn more about a culture that's different of your own, then we really invite you to stop by our office, come to our events throughout the year. Our office is located in the Marshall Student Center on the 3rd floor. So if you are familiar with the campus, with orientation, we're in the main student center on the 3rd floor in Suite 3300.
I love that. And Neldy, so you are in the office and your team will be there. Is it Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 that people can walk in and get in contact with your team?
Yes, in the fall, we're open actually 9 to 7, Monday to Thursday, and on Fridays, 9 to 5. So we do have extended hours during the fall and the spring.
Okay, great. And so you talked a lot about the different events and programs that are happening from fall to spring. So you all keep really busy, and I love that all of those events are hosted by you all and open to anybody that's interested in attending. It really does set me up for my next question, which you may have gone over everything, but what events, programs, and services can we look forward to from OMA in the fall and then spring as well, if you'd like to talk about that?
Yeah, of course. I can share a little bit more details with regards to fall. So one of our big annual events, we get about 500 students attend each year, is our annual LGBTQ Student Ice Cream Social and Mixer. And it's an opportunity for LGBTQ students, queer students, and allies to connect with other students that share the same identities, same values, and also connect with all of the student orgs at the university that support LGBTQ students at USF. That is an annual Week of Welcome event. This year's happening on August 24th, kicking off the fall with a big bang. And then we'll move into our traditional programming for the Heritage Months and History Months that I mentioned. So for example, for Hispanic Heritage Month this fall, we kick off on September 15th. We're going to be having a luncheon, inviting everyone in the community, both on campus and external campus stakeholders, to celebrate Hispanic heritage, Latinx history, learn a little bit more about the Hispanic populations at USF and in Tampa Bay. And we're going to be providing a yummy, delicious Latinx themed lunch. We'll have a photo booth, and it's really an opportunity to welcome all our students, but especially to celebrate Latinx and Hispanic students, staff, and faculty at the university. So that is one great thing to look forward to that's going to be happening in the Marshall Student Center on September 15th. We also have ongoing fall programming that connects intersectionality, so different pieces of students' identity that we want to highlight. So additionally, in September, on September 24th, if you want to make note of this, we're going to be theming out our annual and monthly Cutie Puck and Coffee. And Cutie Puck and Coffee is one of our most popular signature events in the Office of Multicultural Affairs. It's an opportunity for queer, trans, and people of color to come together to talk about their experiences in the intersections of their identity, both gender, sexual orientation, race, and ethnicity. So on September 24th, we're going to be exploring what does it mean to be queer as a Latinx or Hispanic student? How do you have those conversations with your parents? What is the come out process? And what are some resources that OMA and resources in the Tampa Bay community can offer to support any student that is considering coming out or just connecting with other queer students at the university to kind of help bridge that gap and ease those conversations. Other ongoing programs include the rest of the QT Puck and Coffees. We have one every single month, again, in the office. It's very intimate. They're usually on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And we do offer tea and coffee to go with the theme and some pastries to get everybody connected. Other ongoing programs that we do is if you are an international student coming to USF or you're a domestic student, whether you're in state or out of state, and you want to buddy up with an international student, we offer the opportunity to get involved with our iBuddy program. And that is a year-long program that kicks off in the fall. And it pairs a domestic American student or a domestic foreign student that has been living in the United States for most of their life, including graduating high school or going to elementary school here, with a student who is coming from an international country or coming from study abroad for the semester. So the goal of that program is for the American or domestic student to support that student in their transition to USF. But also what I love about it, it's the mutual cultural exchange that happens. So if you're a student who really wants to crave connection with someone different from you, support and mentor someone as they're learning how to be an American, how to live in America, how to connect within different American traditions, then we really encourage that you look for information as we're recruiting iBuddies for our iBuddy program. And then the other pieces of the fall that I want to highlight, like I mentioned, in October, we have a LGBTQ History Month. Stay tuned because we do an annual film every year. This year, we're going to be showing the film Disclosure on October 11th for LGBTQ History Month. Don't take a peek. It is on Netflix, but we want you to wait and watch it with us so we can engage in a great discussion. And on October 25th, we're inviting all members of the Tampa Bay and USF community to join us at our first inaugural National Coming Out Dinner. So that's going to be a wonderful opportunity for members of the community to share stories about their own coming out, what experiences they've had as an LGBTQ member of society, and we'll also have remarks from a well-renowned keynote speaker. In the month of November, as I mentioned, we do Homeless Awareness Week. We also coordinate weekend trips to a local soup kitchen supported by Feeding Tampa Bay, which is a great organization ran by the Department of Anthropology here at USF. So during Homeless Awareness Week, if you want to continue with civic engagement or volunteering opportunities, we really welcome that you join us for our annual soup kitchen day on a Saturday morning. And more information is for that event in particular to come. So as you can hear, I can talk on and on about the programs, but those are our signature events that I really wanted all of you to be aware of and prepared to attend and celebrate with us.
Absolutely. I love all that, Neldy. You all definitely keep busy and have so many opportunities for students to engage and learn too, which is so important. So we just talked about a lot of different events. Is there a place that students can go to see all of these in a calendar format, or is that on your website, just for those that may want to learn more about a specific event?
Yeah, two resources I want to offer to learn more. It is our website, which is usf.edu/OMA. And we also have a very active social media presence on Instagram. And our OMA Instagram is OMA_USF. Every event that I have mentioned, including some of our upcoming summer events, fall events, and signature events throughout the year, are going to be posted on Instagram with a really beautiful graphic detailing date, location, time, and person to contact if you have any questions.
Great. So we talked all about fall, a lot of different events going on in the fall. And this week, actually, we kicked off Summer B. So we're excited to have the students here and residents here for Summer B. So can you talk about the events planned for the Summer B session for those that are listening that may already be on campus?
Yes, I love that. Well, welcome, new bulls, to USF. So glad that you joined us for the Summer Bee term. The Office of Multicultural Affairs invites you to two wonderful events. One of them is our inaugural Summer Bee Barbecue. It's called Chilling Out Cook-Off, and that's going to be on July 6th. So for those of you that are not able to go home for 4th of July or are not able to travel during this time, we did want you to celebrate the festivities of having a barbecue cookout on July 6th, and that's going to happen right in the residential communities in the Castor Beach by the Argos lawn. So if you're living on campus already, just come on out of your rooms, join us at Castor Beach for a burger or a hot dog. We also are going to have vegan options, and we'll have some lawn games and an opportunity to connect and welcome you to USF through the Office of Multicultural Affairs. There you'll be able to meet members of the OMA team. I get to work with a wonderful team of 7 other individuals, and they'll be in attendance. The other event that we really want to invite you to is our Office of Multicultural Affairs Mixer. That's going to be happening on July 13th here in the Office of Multicultural Affairs in what we call our backspace, which is a huge living room type area that we have with soft seating. It's very comfortable. We'll be providing different appetizers and connecting you to different staff in our office, but also student leaders at USF that represent different multicultural organizations. So that one is on July 13th as well, here on the 3rd floor of the Marshall Student Center in Suite 3300.
Great. Thank you, Neldy. And the next question I have is about trainings, but before we get to that, we do have a question from an audience member, Beth, asking about the in-between summer bee and fall semesters. The question specifically is, my student will be moving from one hall to another. Can she move her stuff into the fall room at the end of summer bee? She doesn't need to stay there for the break stay and live in fall room early, but she needs to move the stuff there. So in order to move your items from your current summer location to your fall location during that break stay or during that transition day, your student would need to sign up for break stay, and that break stay form, I believe, is live in the housing portal now. And in order to stay, keep their items in their new room, they would need to pay for the nightly rate of the room. So all of that information is on the website, and we can definitely link it to your question there so you can learn a little bit more. So thank you, Beth, for that question, and thank you for those watching. Be sure to drop your questions in the comments so that we can answer you live on the show here tonight. So Neldy, let's talk about the trainings conducted by your office. Can you talk a little bit about those, please?
Yes, of course. So our office also it's involved in educating the campus community to ensure that we're supporting all students regardless of, as I mentioned, their backgrounds or understanding their backgrounds so that we can best support them in their own social identity. So 2 of the trainings that we lead are our Safe Zone training and our Undocu Ally training. So our Undocu Ally training, it's an opportunity for members of the USF community, students, faculty, and staff to learn about the experiences of undocumented students at the university, and also to understand what resources are available for these students as they navigate college with this vulnerability status of being undocumented. So USF partners with an organization called the Dream US Scholars, and therefore we're able to host students that are undocumented, known as Dreamers, at the USF campus. These students receive a scholarship. So if you are a dreamer and you haven't heard about the Dream US Scholars, please contact the Office of Multicultural Affairs so we can connect you. But this training is to ensure that our faculty, staff, and other student peers know what are the accurate facts about being an undocumented student, what are some of the inaccuracies or fictional narratives that are created about undocumented students, and above all, how can we ensure that undocumented students feel USF is home for them as every other student at the university. So the training is done in a 2-part series. The training is hybrid. There's a part 1 that's an hour and a half and a part 2. We are currently recruiting facilitators, but all of our training days are available on our webpage under the Undocu Ally training tab. So if you're curious to learn more about Undocu Ally, I really encourage you to visit our website. And if this is a passion area for you and you would like to be considered as a facilitator in the future, we do allow students to facilitate, then we welcome you to reach out to us, send us an email, and tell us about your interest. The second training that we do is our Safe Zone training. And this is a 4-part training series in supporting and educating the community around the experiences of LGBTQ students. So part 1 is focused on understanding the alphabet soup, LGBTQIA. What does that mean? How do students connect with those single letters? And also, what does that mean about their experiences as people, not just in society, but at USF? So we break that down for everyone, get people to understand what it means to be a queer student. We have some scenarios. We do some putting yourselves in your shoes in that training session to really kind of empathize and understand what that experience is like. Part 2 gets a little bit deeper in understanding some language pieces, understanding some resources, understanding some pieces of empathy, support, and cultural humility, how to ask specific questions, how to support someone if they're coming out and they're afraid to come out to their friends, faculty, staff, or peers. And then part 3 and 4 focus on allyship and advocacy. So how do you stand as an ally to a queer person of our community, an LGBTQ student? What are some things that you can offer as an ally? And also, what are some resources in the Tampa Bay community that you can connect others to in efforts of their advocacy? Whether it's advocacy to improve their overall well-being as an LGBTQ person, or advocacy to ensure that they have the adequate resources, whether it's education, networking, career prep, or medical and healthcare, so that you are informed of what those resources are and can pass those on as an ally and advocate to members of those communities. Again, for this Safe Zone training, it is a 4-part series. All of the dates that you can register for if you're looking to be trained as a Safe Zone facilitator in the future, and if you just want to go through the training to learn more, are already listed on our webpage. So I really invite you to take a look at the webpage, look at the dates. And for both of the Undocu Ally and Safe Zone training, you could register via the links on the webpage. And you also get an alert through Bulls Connect, which is our student organization platform at the university. You also get a certificate for both. For Safe Zone, you get a wonderful Safe Zone training facilitator water bottle, you get a sticker, and you get a certificate certifying that you went through Safe Zone training, and the same thing for Undocu Ally. And both these training pieces are wonderful ways to leverage your resume and not just add your involvement at the university, but also add what particular trainings you have received if you're someone who's looking to work in the public sector, either as a social worker, cultural anthropologist, psychologist. These are things that would look great on your resume to build up your career portfolio.
Thank you, Neldy. And we're dropping those links also in the comments on Facebook, so people can learn more about them. And the second training set me up for this question, and we talked a lot about this already, but what services does the Office of Multicultural Affairs provide specifically for LGBTQ plus students?
Definitely. So beyond our programs, our office is set up with full-time professional staff members who serve particular populations. So we do have a coordinator for LGBTQ student support and programming. Her name is Allison Garcia. Her details are also on our website. And Allison's sole role at the university is to ensure that LGBTQ students have a person to talk to connect with, who's there to support them in all aspects of their identity. Whether you're a student who is trans or gender nonconforming, gender non-binary, and you want to learn a little bit more about how USF supports you, you're having issues being misgendered in the classroom by your faculty or peers, and you want someone to talk to, vent, and connect to resources. You want help understanding pronoun use and how to add pronouns to the USF ID card. Allison can support you with all of those pieces. Additionally, if you are a queer student, regardless of your gender identity, and you want to connect with student orgs through OMA, Allison will be your connect in supporting your involvement. So whether you want to connect with our pride organizations, we also have an organization that is specifically to bring queer, trans, and people of color together. They're the ones who help us put QT Puck in coffee. Or if you're a student who was heavily involved in high school, supporting queer initiatives, LGBTQ initiatives, and you want to partner with us to implement some of those programs, Allison is one of the individuals that can support you in that. And Allison's office is also located in the OMA Marshall Student Center Suite in 3300. And her office hours are the same as the hours for the office, which is Monday to Thursday, 9 to 7, and then 9 to 5 on Friday. Another wonderful resource that I want to plug, and it's in partnership with Housing and Residential Education, is our Stonewall Suites Living Learning Community. So OMA is the other half of that initiative. Stonewall Suites is located in Beacon Hall on the 6th floor and is home to 44 students. Allison will be advising those students. She will also be hosting office hours in Beacon Hall to support Stonewall Suites residents. And some of the wonderful initiatives with the Living Learning Community include some of our signature programming, including the annual Queer Tour of Tampa Bay, where OMA staff and housing staff accompany students to different agencies and resources off campus throughout Tampa Bay. So we go to St. Pete, we go to Clearwater, we go to Gulfport, and students get to see what services and offices can provide resources for them as queer students at the university. And then last but not least, as I mentioned, we have our monthly QT Puck and coffee sessions. We also have our Pride Alliance organization on campus. And we also have the opportunity to coach students with having difficult conversations around their queer identity, and above all, connecting students to the USF Counseling Center or the USF Victim Advocacy Center in the sense of any student is struggling with aspects of their identity. They're feeling bullied or not accepted, not embraced, not loved because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. We are the office that would connect you to all of the other resources to support you, while Allison will also support you throughout your transition and your time at USF.
Thank you, Neldy. A lot of great resources there. Thanks for that. And one of the ending questions we have tonight for you is, what are the benefits for students to engage with the Office of Multicultural Affairs? So obviously there are many, there's so much that is covered by OMA, but what would be one that stands out to you as a benefit of getting connected with us?
Of course. I think sometimes what we take for granted in society is how diverse we really are. And one of the benefits in engaging with OMA is that you're going to be gaining skills, intercultural communication skills, cultural competence skills. The ability to connect with people is really important. When students say, I'm a people person, what does that really mean? Are you able to communicate with people across differences? Or are you only able to connect and relate to people that are exactly like you and share your same values? Well, society doesn't work like that, right? We are all made up of different thoughts, different cultures, different upbringings, and the Office of Multicultural Affairs can be a hub so you can polish those skills. And those skills come into play living on campus because more than likely your roommate is going to be someone that is completely different from you. So as you're connecting with your roommates, as you're connecting with friends and peers in the classroom, we want to make sure that you have all of the skills that's needed to be a culturally competent global citizen who is going to thrive at USF, be respectful, be engaged, be open to new ideas, learn new things, and in addition, who's going to be prepared to enter the workforce, which is highly diverse right now and will require certain skills around cultural competence. So I would say one of the biggest benefits is to be connected, to find a sense of belonging so that you're not feeling isolated, regardless of your race, religion, sexual orientation, identity, forms of ability. Our office supports everyone in every diverse aspects that they hold. And last but not least, like I mentioned, to make sure that you are feeling supported and prepared to work with others that may be similar or different from you.
Thank you. So important. Thank you for that, Neldy. And last but not least, how can students or family members, if they have any further questions, contact your office?
Of course. So I can share my personal email address, which is ncnunes@usf.edu. If you guys can drop it in the comments. You can also contact us via social media. Our graduate assistant, Emily Morel, is the queen of our Instagram page. And Emily will respond to any direct messages that you send on there. And that is OMA_USF. And of course, you can reach us by coming to the office. You can also reach us by sending us an email at sa-oma@usf.edu. So those are all the ways to reach us. I do invite you to stop in our office. We have tons of stickers, swag items, t-shirts, buttons, and we welcome you to stop in, say hello, grab whatever you may like to take back with you, and learn more about our office. And again, we're located in the Marshall Student Center on the 3rd floor in Suite 3300.
Love that. And swag is always a good incentive to stop by the office. So
yes, I am
there,
going to highlight. Julia, if I can, I'll highlight this year's OMA t-shirt.
Nice.
So this is something to look forward to as you engage at our events. We'll have some of these at the barbecue on July 6th, our mixer July 13th, and we'll have tons of more goodies, including lanyards for your keys since you're living on campus and we don't want you to lose those, at many of our tabling events this fall and spring semester.
Love it. One thing that you will learn quickly if you have not been to campus yet and living as a college student here at USF is that you will always find free t-shirts and other free items walking around given out by organizations. So love that with the Rocky on it, Neldy. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
So Neldy, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to chat. I know that you're very busy, obviously, with what we just went over with all of the different programs that you all do to support our students. So thank you for that, and I hope you have a great evening. We started the show when it was thundering and storming out, and now it's a beautiful evening here in Tampa, so that's Florida for you. So enjoy your evening, Neldy.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for having me, and thank you all for listening in. Have a great night.
Have a good one. Thanks again, Neldy.
Bye-bye.
So thank you, Neldy, to answering all of our questions. And if you have additional questions about living on campus at USF, you can reach our office by email at housing@usf.edu or by phone at 813-974-0001. And be sure to join us for our next episode of Housing Live on Wednesday, July 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be speaking with residential education and housing services at USF. You can watch on our Facebook or YouTube page, the USF Class of 2026 Facebook group, or the USF Parent and Family Engagement Facebook page. USF Housing Live is produced by Housing and Residential Education at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Our motto is best place to live, best place to work, and best place to learn. Thank you to tonight's guests, Shane Combs and Neldy Nunez, for joining me this evening. Thank you to our production crew, to you, our viewers, and of course, there's always just one last thing. Go Bulls. Good night, everyone.